The screams echoed through the metal corridors of Medical Station Harmony 7. Every species on board could hear them, and every species understood that sound meant one thing: pain, terrible, unending pain. Commander Lisa Monroe ran through the hallway toward the medical wing. She had been on this station for 5 years, overseeing medical operations for dozens of alien species. She had never heard anything like this. The sound came from the diplomatic suite where the delegation had been staying for the past 3 days. The peace negotiations were supposed to be simple. The Empire wanted to discuss trade routes. Instead, their ambassador was dying. She reached the medical bay and found chaos. 3 doctors surrounded a bed where Ambassador Ha writhed in agony. His long body twisted and turned as he clutched his jaw. His skin, normally a deep blue color, had turned almost purple. Doctor, the lead physician, looked up as Lisa entered. His face showed something she rarely saw in the usually calm species: fear. "Commander Monroe, we need help," Doctor said, his voice cracked. "The ambassador is dying and we cannot save him." Lisa moved closer to the bed. Ha's eyes were wide with pain. Foam gathered at the corners of his mouth. Every few seconds his body jerked as another wave of agony hit him. "What happened?" she asked. Doctor pulled up a holographic display. It showed the inside of Ha's mouth. Lisa was not a doctor, but even she could see something was wrong. The teeth, if you could call them that, were not like human teeth. They had 3 distinct layers, each a different color. The middle layer glowed bright red on the scan. "Infection," Doctor explained. "It started 2 days ago as a small pain. The ambassador did not mention it because he did not want to delay the negotiations. By this morning, the infection had spread through the middle dental layer. Now it is reaching his neural clusters. If we do not stop it soon, the pain signals will overload his nervous system. He will die." Lisa looked at the other medical staff in the room. A nurse stood by with instruments ready. 2 more doctors monitored the vital signs. Everyone looked lost. "What have you tried?" she asked. "Everything in our medical database," Doctor said. He sounded tired. "We cannot use laser surgery because the tooth structure is too complex. If we cut through the outer layer, the whole thing will shatter. We cannot use standard galactic pain medicines because biology reacts badly to them. We tried the new nano-injection therapy. The ambassador's body rejected it within minutes. His fever is now at dangerous levels." Another scream tore from Ha's throat. The sound made Lisa's skin crawl. She had seen many medical emergencies, but this was different. The galaxy's most advanced medical technology stood helpless while a diplomat died in agony. "There has to be something," she said. Doctor shook his head. "We have consulted with medical experts from 12 different species. No one has encountered this exact problem before. The infection is in a place we cannot reach without killing the patient, and even if we could reach it, we cannot use the standard treatments. Biology is very sensitive to certain compounds." "What compounds?" Lisa asked. "Mint-based medicines," Doctor said. "Most galactic dental treatments use synthetic mint compounds to numb pain and fight infection. For these compounds cause a violent allergic reaction. The ambassador would die faster from the treatment than from the infection itself." Lisa thought quickly. Her job was to coordinate medical care for every species on the station. That included the small human population in the lower levels. Humans were still new to galactic society. Most aliens considered human medicine primitive. They had good reasons. Humans did not have the advanced nanobots that other species used. They did not have instant tissue regeneration. They still used metal tools and their own hands for surgery. But Lisa had seen something interesting in the past year. When other methods failed, human doctors sometimes succeeded. "What about Dr. Cooper?" she said. The room went quiet. Doctor looked at her like she had suggested something crazy. "The human dentist?" he asked. "Commander, with respect, this is a complex medical emergency. We need advanced solutions, not primitive ones." "Do you have any advanced solutions that work?" Lisa asked. Her voice was firm. Doctor looked back at his patient. Ha had stopped screaming. That was not a good sign. It meant he was getting weaker. "No," the doctor admitted. "We do not." Lisa tapped her communication device. "Get me Dr. Daniel Cooper. Tell him we have an emergency." She turned back to Doctor. "I have seen Dr. Cooper's record. Before he came to this station, he worked in rural areas on Earth, places with no advanced technology. He treated patients with tools his grandfather gave him. He has a success rate of 98%. "On humans," Doctor said. "Ambassador Ha is not human." No, but he is a patient in pain, Lisa said. And right now, Dr. Cooper is the only option we have left. Council member On entered the medical bay at that moment. He was tall even for and his robes showed his high rank. His face darkened when he saw Ha on the bed. What is happening here? He demanded. Doctor quickly explained the situation. On's skin turned darker with each word. When the doctor finished, On looked at Lisa. You want a human to treat our ambassador? He asked. His voice dripped with disbelief. I want someone who can save him, Lisa said. Right now, that might be Dr. Cooper. Humans know nothing of physiology, On said. Their medicine is centuries behind ours. They still cut open bodies with metal knives. They use plants and herbs like ancient primitives. This is insulting. This is survival, Lisa said. She pointed at Ha. Your ambassador has maybe 3 hours left. The infection is spreading. Do you want to save his life or do you want to protect your pride? On's face showed his internal struggle. Pride was important to They were an old species, one of the founding members of the Galactic Council. Humans had joined the Council only 15 years ago. To ask for human help in a medical matter was to admit that human medicine had value. Many were not ready to admit that. But as On watched Ha's labored breathing, he made his choice. Bring the human, he said quietly. But if he fails, if he makes this worse, there will be consequences. If he fails, the ambassador dies anyway, Lisa said. She activated her communicator again. Dr. Cooper, this is Commander Monroe. How fast can you get to the main medical bay? The voice that answered was calm and steady. I am already on my way, Commander. Nurse is bringing my equipment. We will be there in 5 minutes. Dr. Daniel Cooper had been eating lunch when the emergency call came through. He left his sandwich half-eaten and grabbed his medical bag. The bag was old, made of brown leather that his grandfather had carried for 40 years before him. Inside were instruments that most galactic doctors would call antiques. Cooper called them reliable. He reached the medical bay with Nurse Amy right behind him. She carried a larger case with more equipment. The doors slid open, and Cooper stepped inside to find a room full of worried faces. He recognized Commander Monroe. The others were, their blue skin showing various shades of stress and fear. On the bed was a figure that shook with pain. Dr. Cooper, Commander Monroe said. Relief showed in her voice. Thank you for coming so quickly. Cooper walked to the bed without answering. He had learned long ago that in emergencies you started with the patient, not with pleasantries. He looked down at Ambassador Ha. The alien's eyes were closed now. His breathing came in short, painful gasps. Foam covered his lips. Cooper had seen that before in humans who were in severe pain, the body's response to trauma. Tell me what is wrong, Cooper said. His voice was quiet but firm. Doctor stepped forward. He did not look happy to see Cooper, but he was professional. He pulled up the holographic display again, showing the scan of Ha's mouth. Dental infection in the middle layer, he explained. It has spread to the neural clusters. We cannot operate without killing him. We cannot use standard medicines because his species is allergic to mint compounds. Cooper studied the hologram. He tilted his head, looking at it from different angles. His face showed no emotion, but his mind was working fast. The tooth structure was unlike anything on Earth, but the problem was familiar. Infection in a hard-to-reach place. Pain that blocked other treatments. A patient running out of time. How long has he been like this? Cooper asked. The pain started 2 days ago, doctor said. It became critical this morning. Cooper nodded. He opened his medical bag and pulled out a small light. It was a simple LED flashlight, nothing fancy. He gently opened Ha's mouth. The ambassador did not resist. He was too weak. Cooper shined the light inside, moving it slowly to see every angle. The other doctors watched him with expressions that ranged from curiosity to doubt. Council member On spoke up. What can you possibly see that our advanced scanners have not shown us? His tone was sharp. Cooper did not look up from his examination. Scanners are good, he said, but sometimes you need to see with your own eyes. Scanners show you what is there. Eyes show you how things connect. He closed Ha's mouth gently and stepped back. I need to see his full medical history, everything about dental structure, and I need to know exactly which compounds cause allergic reactions. Doctor hesitated. Sharing medical data with a human felt wrong to him, but he looked at his dying patient and made the decision. He transferred the files to Cooper's handheld device. It was a simple human tablet, nothing like the advanced holographic systems they used. Cooper sat down in a chair and started reading. The room waited. Ha's breathing got worse. Nurse checked his vital signs and shook her head slightly. Time was running out. Cooper read through page after page of information. His face remained calm, but his eyes moved quickly. He was absorbing everything, comparing it to what he knew from his years of practice. After 10 minutes, he looked up. "The tooth structure reminds me of something we had on Earth millions of years ago," he said. "Big sharks called megalodons. They had multiple tooth layers too, different from this but similar enough." He stood up and walked back to the bed. "The problem is not just the infection. The problem is that you are trying to treat him like every other species, but are not like other species. Your biology is unique." "We know that," On said impatiently. "That is why nothing works." "That is why you need a different approach," Cooper said. He turned to Doctor. "You said you cannot use mint compounds. What about other natural substances? Has anyone tried clove oil?" Doctor looked confused. "What is clove oil?" "It comes from a plant on Earth," Cooper explained. "We have used it for dental pain for thousands of years. It numbs tissue and fights infection. No mint, just natural compounds from the clove plant." "Human plants," On said. His voice was full of skepticism. "You want to treat our ambassador with primitive earth plants." "I want to treat him with something that might work," Cooper said. His voice stayed calm, but there was steel in it. "Your advanced medicines are failing. Sometimes the old ways work because they are simple. They do not try to do too much. They just do what is needed." Doctor studied Cooper's face. The human did not look arrogant. He did not look like someone trying to prove his species was better. He looked like a doctor who saw a patient in pain and wanted to help. That made the difference. "What do you propose?" the doctor asked. Cooper pulled out his grandfather's tools from the leather bag. They were metal instruments, carefully maintained and sharpened. They looked tiny compared to the energy-based tools the aliens used. "I can drill through the outer layer without shattering it," he said. "Human hands can control pressure better than automated systems. I can create a channel to reach the infection. Then I drain it and treat it with clove oil and other natural compounds." "You want to drill into his tooth with hand tools?" On's voice rose. "This is madness." "This is dentistry," Cooper said. "The way my grandfather taught me, the way his grandfather taught him. We did not have fancy machines in rural Montana. We had skills and steady hands. I have treated hundreds of difficult cases this way. I know what I am doing." Amy stepped forward with the larger equipment case. "Dr. Cooper has a 98% success rate," she said quietly. "I have worked with him for 3 years. I have never seen him lose a patient because he was not skilled enough." Doctor looked at the scans again. He looked at his patient, who was now barely conscious. He looked at all the advanced technology in the room that had failed to save one life. Then he looked at the simple metal tools in Cooper's hands. "If you fail," he said slowly, "the ambassador dies. If we do nothing, he dies anyway. At least with your way, there is a chance." On began to protest, but Haas stirred on the bed. His eyes opened slightly. He looked at Cooper with pain-filled eyes. Then, with tremendous effort, he moved his head in a small nod. Permission. Trust. A choice to try something different because everything else had failed. Cooper saw that nod and something changed in his expression. The weight of responsibility settled on his shoulders, but he accepted it without hesitation. "I will need a clean operating space," he said. "Assistant to monitor vital signs, and I need everyone else to stay out of my way. When I work, I cannot have distractions." Commander Monroe moved into action. "We will set up in Operating Room 3. It is our largest space." She looked at On. "I need you to approve this officially. Put it in the record that this was done with proper authority." On stood silent for a long moment. His pride fought with his duty. Duty won. "I approve the procedure," he said formally. "Dr. Cooper will attempt to save Ambassador Ha using human medical techniques. May the ancestors forgive us if this goes wrong." Operating Room 3 was filled with tension. Ambassador Ha lay on the surgical table, barely conscious. His vital signs showed on screens all around the room. They were not good. His heart rate was too fast. His body temperature was dangerously high. The infection was winning, and everyone knew it. Dr. Daniel Cooper scrubbed his hands at the sink. It was an old human ritual, cleaning with soap and water before surgery. The doctors in the observation window above watched with confusion. Their species used energy fields to sterilize. They did not understand why Cooper insisted on such primitive methods, but Cooper had his reasons. His grandfather had taught him that the rituals before surgery were as important as the surgery itself. They focused the mind. They prepared the hands. They reminded you that a life depended on what you did next. Nurse Amy prepared the instruments on a sterile tray. Each tool gleamed under the bright lights. There was a hand drill smaller than a human finger. There were tiny scrapers and picks. There was a small syringe filled with amber liquid, clove oil mixed with other natural compounds from Earth. No synthetic medicines, no advanced nanobots, just plants and metal and human skill. Doctor stood beside the table, looking nervous. He had agreed to assist, but he had never worked like this before. Surgery used automated systems and laser precision. This was different. This required hands and judgment and experience that could not be programmed into a machine. "Ready?" Cooper asked. His voice was steady. Nodded. "What do you need me to do?" "Watch the vital signs," Cooper said. "Tell me immediately if anything changes, and talk to me about physiology as we work. I need to understand what I am seeing as I see it." Commander Lisa Monroe watched from the observation window with council member on and several other officials. Security Chief Brandon Hall stood by the door, making sure no one interrupted. This surgery had become political. If Cooper succeeded, human medicine would gain respect across the galaxy. If he failed, humans would be seen as dangerous amateurs who had killed a diplomat. The pressure was enormous, but Cooper did not think about politics. He thought about his patient. He positioned himself at the head of the table and looked into Ha's mouth. The holographic display beside him showed the tooth structure in 3 dimensions. The infection glowed red in the middle layer, spreading like fire through crystal. Cooper picked up his hand drill. It was a simple mechanical device powered by a small battery. No lasers, no computer guidance, just a sharp bit that would spin when he pressed the trigger. "Beginning now," Cooper said quietly. He placed the drill bit against the outer layer of the infected tooth. His hands were perfectly steady. Years of practice had trained them to move with precision measured in fractions of a millimeter. He squeezed the trigger gently. The drill spun, biting into the crystalline surface. A tiny shower of dust fell away. In the observation window, On leaned forward. "He is going too slow," he muttered. "At this rate, it will take hours." "Slow is careful," Monroe replied. "Careful keeps the patient alive." Cooper ignored the watching eyes. His entire focus was on the drill and the tooth. He could feel the resistance of the material through the tool. It told him how hard to press, how fast to go. Machines could not feel like this. They could only measure. Cooper had learned to trust his hands more than any scanner. "The outer layer is thicker than I expected," he said. "Doctor, is this normal?" Checked his records. For an older, yes. The outer layer grows throughout life. Ambassador Ha is 70 years old. His outer layer would be at maximum thickness. "Good to know," Cooper said. He adjusted his angle slightly and continued drilling. Sweat began to form on his forehead. Amy wiped it away with a sterile cloth. The work required total concentration. One mistake, one moment of too much pressure, and the tooth would shatter. Then the infection would spread into the surrounding tissue. The ambassador would die. 30 minutes passed. Cooper had created a hole through the outer layer, narrow and precise. Now came the difficult part. He needed to reach through that hole into the middle layer where the infection lived. He put down the drill and picked up a thin metal probe. It looked like a needle with a bent tip. "I am going in," he said. He inserted the probe through the hole he had drilled. His hands moved slowly, feeling for the infected tissue. The probe touched something soft. Ha's body jerked slightly even though he was unconscious. His vital signs spiked. "Neural response," said quickly. "You are near the pain receptors." Cooper nodded. He had expected that. "I am going to drain the infection now. It will hurt him even through the sedation. Be ready." He the probe and picked up a different tool. This one was hollow, like a tiny straw. He inserted it into the hole and pushed deeper. When it reached the infection, yellow fluid began to flow out. Ha's body convulsed. His vital signs went chaotic. Alarms began to sound. "His heart rate is dangerous," said. His voice showed panic. "We need to stop." "We need to finish," Cooper said firmly. "If we stop now, the infection will spread even faster. Trust me." In the observation window, On stood up. "This is killing him," he shouted. "Stop the procedure." Commander Monroe put a hand on his arm. "Dr. Cooper knows what he is doing. Give him time." Cooper kept the drainage tube in place. More infected fluid flowed out. It was toxic, full of bacteria that had been destroying the tooth from inside. The body's own immune system could not reach this place, but Cooper's simple tube could. After 2 minutes, the flow slowed and stopped. "Infection drained," Cooper said. "Now for the treatment." He picked up the syringe filled with clove oil mixture. This was the real test. If the body rejected this earth-based compound, everything would fail. But Cooper had studied the medical data carefully. He believed it would work. He injected the oil slowly into the cavity where the infection had been. Ha's body relaxed. The vital sign alarms stopped. His heart rate began to slow down to safer levels, stared at the monitors in disbelief. "The inflammation is decreasing," he said. "The neural pain signals are reducing. How is this possible?" "Clove oil is a natural anti-inflammatory and anesthetic," Cooper explained. He continued working as he talked. "Humans discovered it thousands of years ago. Before we had laboratories, we learned what plants could heal. Earth has incredible biodiversity, millions of species of plants. Some of them have properties your synthetic medicines cannot match." He picked up another small tool and began scraping away the damaged tissue inside the tooth. It was delicate work. The space was tiny. One wrong move could damage the neural clusters that Doctor had mentioned, but Cooper's hands never wavered. He had done similar work on human teeth thousands of times. The principle was the same: clean the infection, preserve the healthy tissue, give the body a chance to heal. 2 hours passed, then 3. Cooper worked without stopping. His back ached from bending over the table. His hands were tired, but he did not pause. Amy brought him water to drink. He sipped it quickly and went back to work. In the observation window, the crowd had grown. Word had spread through the station. Alien doctors from a dozen species came to watch the human work. They saw something they had never seen before: surgery performed by touch and judgment rather than computers and automation. Finally, Cooper straightened up. "Almost finished," he said. "I need to seal the cavity." He took a compound that Amy handed him. It was a mixture of human bioadhesive and tissue regeneration gel. Cooper had spent an hour before the surgery studying the compatibility. Now he applied it carefully to the inside of the tooth, sealing the hole he had created. The compound would harden and become part of the tooth structure. It would protect the healing tissue inside. "Done," Cooper said. He stepped back from the table. His face showed exhaustion but also satisfaction. "The infection is removed. The cavity is sealed. His body can heal now." Doctor checked the vital signs. Ha's heart rate was almost normal. His temperature was dropping. The pain signals had stopped. The ambassador's face, which had been twisted with agony for hours, was now peaceful. He looked like he was sleeping. "I do not believe it," said quietly. "You actually did it with hand tools and plant medicine. You saved him." Cooper began cleaning his instruments. "The tools do not matter," he said. "What matters is understanding the problem and having the skill to fix it. My grandfather taught me that. He worked in places with no electricity, no modern equipment, just his hands and his knowledge. He saved lives every day. I learned from him." In the observation window, the alien doctors were silent. They had watched something that challenged everything they thought they knew about medicine. Advanced technology was not always the answer. Sometimes the simple approach worked better. Sometimes human hands could do what machines could not. Council Member On's face had changed. The anger and doubt were gone. Now he looked thoughtful. He turned to Commander Monroe. "We need to talk about medical exchange programs," he said quietly. "Perhaps humans have knowledge we should learn." Monroe smiled. "Perhaps we all have knowledge to share." Below in the operating room, Cooper finished cleaning the last of his tools. He placed them carefully back 3 days after the surgery. Ambassador Ha sat up in his medical bed and smiled. It was the first time he had smiled in a week. The pain was gone, not just reduced, but completely gone. He moved his jaw carefully, testing it. Everything worked. The infection that had nearly killed him was now just a memory. Dr. Daniel Cooper entered the room carrying his medical bag. He came twice a day to check on his patient, not because the station required it, but because it was the right thing to do. Good doctors followed up on their patients. Cooper had learned that from his grandfather, too. "Good morning, Ambassador," Cooper said. His voice was friendly but professional. "How are you feeling today?" Ha's skin showed a healthy blue color again. The purple tinge of infection was gone. "I feel wonderful, Dr. Cooper," he said. His voice was strong. "For the first time in days, I can think clearly. I can eat without pain. I can speak without agony. You gave me my life back." Cooper pulled out his simple flashlight and checked Ha's mouth. The sealed cavity was healing perfectly. The surrounding tissue looked healthy. "You are recovering very well," Cooper said. "Better than I expected, actually. Your body responded well to the clove oil treatment." "I must ask you something," Ha said. He looked serious now. Why did you help me? Your species and mine are not close allies. We have barely worked together since humans joined the Galactic Council. You could have refused. You could have let our doctors fail. Why did you risk your reputation on a patient you did not know? Cooper put away his flashlight and sat down in a chair beside the bed. You were in pain, he said simply. I am a dentist. When someone is in pain, I help them. It does not matter what species they are. It does not matter if they like humans or not. Pain is pain. Suffering is suffering. My job is to end it when I can. Ha was quiet for a moment, then he spoke softly. That is not how most species think. Most would consider politics first. They would think about advantage and alliances. You thought only of the patient. That is how I was taught, Cooper said. My grandfather used to say that medicine is not about politics, it is about people. Well, in your case, about a person who happens to be an alien, but the principle is the same. The door opened and Doctor entered. The doctor looked different than he had 3 days ago. Then he had been skeptical and worried. Now he looked excited. He carried a data pad filled with information. Ambassador Dr. Cooper, I have been studying human dental practices, he said. What I have found is remarkable. What did you find? Cooper asked. Pulled up data on his pad. I reviewed galactic medical records from the past 50 years. I searched for cases where advanced medicine failed but alternative treatments succeeded. I found 73 cases. In 41 of those cases, the solution came from human doctors using human methods. Cooper raised his eyebrows. I did not know it was that many. Neither did we, said. These cases were scattered across different medical databases. No one had connected them before, but the pattern is clear. Human medicine, which we considered primitive, has solved problems that our advanced technology could not solve. Ha leaned forward with interest. What kinds of problems? All kinds, said. He scrolled through his data. There was a child with a genetic disorder. Galactic gene therapy failed. A human doctor used dietary changes and natural supplements. The child recovered. There was an elder with chronic pain. Advanced pain management did not work. A human doctor used something called acupuncture. The pain decreased by 70%. There are dozens more examples. Cooper nodded slowly. We developed our medicine differently than other species, he explained. Most of you had natural advantages that have regenerative abilities, that can control their own nervous systems, that have strong immune systems. Humans have none of those things. Earth was a harsh world. Diseases killed millions of us. We had to learn to fight them with whatever we had. Plants, minerals, physical techniques. We became very good at using simple tools because we had no choice. That is exactly it, said with excitement. Your species learned to be creative, to improvise, to find solutions that were not obvious. While we relied on technology, you relied on observation and experience. Both approaches have value, but we have been ignoring yours. Council member On arrived with several other officials. His attitude had completely changed since the surgery. He bowed slightly to Cooper, a sign of respect among his people. Dr. Cooper, I owe you an apology, he said formally. I doubted your abilities. I questioned your methods. I was wrong. You saved our ambassador when we could not. For that, my people are grateful. Cooper stood and returned the bow. No apology needed, council member. You were protecting your ambassador. That is your job, I understand. On sat down heavily. He looked at Ha with relief in his eyes. When I saw you in that medical bay, dying from pain, I thought I had failed you. I thought I had let you come to this station to die. Now you sit here healthy and strong. It is like a miracle. It is not a miracle, Ha said. It is skill and knowledge applied correctly. Dr. Cooper understood something important. He understood that sometimes the solution is not to use more technology. Sometimes the solution is to use less technology but more wisdom. Captain entered the room. She was the senior human representative on the station. Dr. Cooper, the galactic medical community wants to meet with you, she said. They want to learn about human dental practices. They want to establish training programs. Cooper looked uncomfortable. I am just a dentist, Captain. I am not a teacher or a diplomat. You are a healer who saved a life, said. That makes you exactly what we need. The galaxy is starting to see that humanity has value beyond military strength or trading power. We have knowledge that can help people. That is more important than any weapon. Ha spoke up. Dr. Cooper, I have a confession to make. The diplomatic mission I came here for was not just about trade routes. The Empire was considering joining a coalition of species that wanted to limit human expansion in the galaxy. We thought humans were too aggressive, too dangerous. We thought your rapid growth was a threat. The room went silent. Cooper looked at the ambassador with calm eyes. "And now?" he asked. "Now I understand that we were seeing only part of the picture," Ha said. "Yes, humans are strong. Yes, you have powerful ships and weapons, but you also have this." He gestured at Cooper. "Compassion, skill, willingness to help those who need help even when they have shown you no friendship. You could have refused to treat me. Many species would have, but you did not hesitate." On nodded. "I will return to our home world and report what happened here. I will tell them that humans are not just warriors. They are also healers. And the galaxy needs healers as much as it needs warriors. More, perhaps." Held up his data pad again. "I want to propose something," he said. "A joint medical research program between humans, and we share our advanced technology. You share your practical knowledge. Together, we could solve medical problems that neither species can solve alone." Cooper thought about that. He thought about his grandfather's leather bag full of old tools. He thought about all the patients he had treated in rural clinics and big city hospitals. He thought about the years of experience that had led him to this moment. "I am willing to share what I know," he said finally, "but on one condition." "Name it," On said. "This is not about proving humans are better than anyone else," Cooper said. "This is about helping patients. If we work together, it has to be real cooperation. We learn from each other. No species is superior. We are just different, and those differences can help us save lives." Haas smiled again. "Agreed. That is exactly the attitude the galaxy needs." Later that day, after all the officials had left, Cooper sat alone with Amy in the small human clinic. She was cleaning instruments while he updated patient records. "You know this is going to change your life," Amy said. "You are famous now, the human who saved the ambassador." Cooper shrugged. "I just did my job." "You did more than that," Amy said. "You showed the galaxy that humans have something valuable to contribute. Not just military power or economic strength, but knowledge and compassion. That matters." Cooper looked at his grandfather's tools, now clean and ready for the next patient. "My grandfather never became famous," he said. "He spent his whole life helping people in a small town. No one outside that town knew his name. But he saved hundreds of lives. He taught me that fame does not matter. What matters is the work. What matters is the next patient who walks through the door needing help." Amy smiled. "Your grandfather would be proud of you." "I hope so," Cooper said quietly. His communication device beeped. It was Commander Monroe. "Dr. Cooper, we have another situation. A child with a dental problem. The family specifically requested you. Can you come to the medical bay?" Cooper stood up and grabbed his bag. "On my way, Commander." 2 weeks after saving Ambassador Ha, Dr. Daniel Cooper found himself standing in front of 200 alien medical professionals. The conference hall on Medical Station Harmony 7 was packed. Doctors from 20 different species had come to hear him speak. Cooper had never been comfortable with public speaking, but Doctor had convinced him it was important. "Just tell them what you told me," had said. "Explain how human medicine works. They need to understand." Now Cooper stood at the podium with a simple presentation on the screen behind him. No fancy holographics, just images and text. He cleared his throat and began. "Thank you all for coming. I am not a scientist or a researcher. I am a dentist. I treat patients one at a time, but I have been asked to talk about human medical approaches, so I will try." He clicked to the next slide. It showed a picture of Earth. "Humans evolved on a dangerous world. Our planet has extreme weather, deadly diseases, and predators that tried to eat us. We did not have natural armor we did not have telepathic healing we just had our brains and our hands. So we learned to use tools. We learned to observe. We learned to experiment." Another slide appeared. This one showed old human medical instruments. Scalpels, forceps, drills. They looked primitive compared to galactic technology. "For thousands of years, we developed medicine without advanced technology. We used what we had, plants for medicine, metal for tools, our own senses to diagnose problems. We made many mistakes. Many people died, but we learned from every failure. We passed that knowledge down through generations." A doctor in the audience raised a tentacle. "But surely modern technology is better than these ancient methods." Cooper nodded. "Sometimes, yes, technology is wonderful. It saves lives every day, but technology has limitations. It works best when treating problems it was designed for. When you encounter something new, something unexpected, technology might not have an answer. That is when human methods can help. We are trained to improvise, to adapt, to find solutions that are not in the medical database." Doctor stood up from his seat in the front row. "Let me add something," he said. "I have been studying human medical records. What I found surprised me. Human doctors have a different approach to diagnosis. They combine technology with personal observation. They touch the patient. They talk to the patient. They use their senses as well as their scanners. This gives them information that pure technology might miss." He pulled up his own data on the main screen. "Look at this case from 5 years ago. A patient had stomach pain. Our medical scanners showed nothing wrong. The patient was sent home. 3 days later, she collapsed. A human doctor examined her. He pressed on her stomach with his hands. He felt something the scanners had missed, a small tumor in an unusual location. He saved her life because he trusted his hands as much as the technology." A physician spoke up. "Are you saying we should abandon our medical technology?" "No," Cooper said firmly. "I am saying we should combine approaches, use your amazing technology, but also train doctors to think independently, to use their judgment, to remember that every patient is different. Medicine is not just about following protocols. It is about understanding the unique situation in front of you." He changed the slide again. This time it showed the clove oil he had used on Ambassador Ha. "This is another example. Earth has millions of plant species. Over human history, we tested thousands of them for medical properties. We learned which ones fight infection, which ones reduce pain, which ones help healing. This knowledge is not in your galactic databases because you never needed it. Your species had other solutions. But now, combining your technology with our plant knowledge, we can treat conditions that neither approach could handle alone." Ambassador Ha entered the conference hall at that moment. He walked to the front and stood beside Cooper. His presence caused a stir in the audience. Everyone knew his story. "I want to say something," Ha announced. "Before Dr. Cooper treated me, I believed human medicine was primitive and useless. I was wrong. I was dying, and all of our advanced technology could not save me. Dr. Cooper saved me with tools his grandfather used, with plant medicine from Earth, with skills learned from experience rather than computers." He turned to face Cooper. "But more than that, he showed me something important about humanity. He treated me not as an alien, not as a political figure, but as a patient who needed help. He risked his reputation to save someone from a species that had shown his people little friendship. That is the true value humans bring to the galaxy, not just medical knowledge, but compassion." Council member On stood up in the audience. "I have an announcement," he said. "The Empire has decided to propose a new initiative to the Galactic Council. We call it the Integrated Medical Approach. The goal is to combine the strengths of different species' medical knowledge, advanced technology from species like the and natural medicine knowledge from humans, diagnostic techniques from the, all working together." Applause filled the hall. Cooper looked uncomfortable with all the attention, but he nodded politely. After the presentation ended, dozens of doctors approached him with questions. They wanted to know about specific human techniques. They wanted to understand how human doctors were trained. They wanted to learn. Doctor pulled Cooper aside. "You have started something important," he said. "This will change galactic medicine." "I just wanted to help a patient," Cooper said. "This all got much bigger than I expected." "The best changes often start with simple actions," replied. "One person helping another, that spreads." Later that evening, Cooper sat in his small apartment on the station. He was exhausted from the day's activities. His communication device showed a call from Earth. He answered it. His daughter appeared on the screen. She was 19 years old, studying to be a doctor herself. "Dad, I saw the news," said. Her face showed pride. "They are calling you a hero, the human who changed galactic medicine." Cooper smiled tiredly. "I am not a hero, I am just a dentist who did his job." "You always say that," said. "But you taught me something important. You taught me that good medicine is about listening to the patient, understanding their unique situation, using whatever knowledge and tools you have to help them. That is what you did for the ambassador. You listened, you understood, you helped." "Your mother would have been proud to see you studying medicine," Cooper said softly. His wife had died 5 years ago from a disease that even human and alien medicine together could not cure. That loss had made him even more determined to save every life he could. "She would be proud of you too," said. "You are making the galaxy a better place, one patient at a time." After the call ended, Cooper looked at his grandfather's leather medical bag sitting on the table. Inside were tools that had saved lives for 3 generations, simple metal instruments that had proven more valuable than the most advanced technology. He thought about his grandfather working in rural Montana, helping people who had no access to modern hospitals. He thought about all the patients he himself had treated over the years. Humans, and now aliens too. The next morning, Cooper returned to his clinic. The waiting room was full. A young child sat nervously in a chair. Her mother held her hand. When Cooper entered, the mother stood up quickly. "Dr. Cooper, thank you for seeing us. My daughter has a toothache. The other doctors said to wait and see if it gets better, but I heard what you did for Ambassador Ha. I wanted you to check her." Cooper smiled kindly at the child. "Come with me," he said gently. "Let me take a look. I am sure we can help." As he led the child into his treatment room, Nurse Amy watched with a smile. This was what it was all about. Not the fame or the conference presentations or the political changes, just a doctor helping a scared child feel better. That was real medicine. The child sat in the dental chair, looking worried. Cooper showed her his tools, explaining what each one did. He let her touch them so they would not seem scary. "These belong to my grandfather," he told her. "He helped thousands of people with these tools. They are very good at making teeth feel better." The examination took only a few minutes. Cooper found a small cavity, nothing serious. He treated it carefully, using the gentle techniques he had perfected over decades. The child barely felt anything. When it was done, she smiled at him. "That was not bad at all," she said. "Good dental care should never be scary," Cooper said. "Remember to brush your teeth every day and you will not get many cavities." The mother was grateful. "How much do I owe you, Dr. Cooper?" "The same as any patient," Cooper said. "My fees have not changed just because I treated an ambassador." As the day went on, Cooper saw more patients. Humans and aliens, each one got the same care, the same attention, the same skill. By the end of the day, he was tired but satisfied. This was his purpose. This was what he was meant to do. That evening, Ambassador Ha sent him a message. "Dr. Cooper, I wanted you to know that the peace negotiations concluded successfully today. The Empire will not join the anti-human coalition. Instead, we are proposing closer cooperation with humanity. Your treatment of me changed more than my health. It changed my people's view of yours. Thank you for that." Cooper read the message and smiled. He had not been trying to change galactic politics. He had just been trying to save a life. But sometimes that was enough. Sometimes one act of compassion could ripple outward and change everything. He picked up his grandfather's medical bag and placed it carefully on the shelf. Tomorrow there would be more patients, more people who needed help, and he would be there ready to serve with steady hands and an open heart. That was the human way. That was his way. And now, thanks to his work, the galaxy was beginning to understand that humanity's greatest strength was not its technology or its weapons. It was its willingness to help anyone who needed it, regardless of species or politics or personal gain. In the end, that was what made humans special. Not their ships or their science, but their compassion. And Dr. Daniel Cooper, with his simple tools and his grandfather's wisdom, had shown the galaxy exactly what that meant. As he walked through the corridors, he passed groups of aliens who stopped and stared. Some whispered to each other, some nodded respectfully. Word had spread fast. The human dentist had done the impossible, but Cooper barely noticed the attention. His mind was already focused on his next patient, a child in pain who needed help. That was all that mattered. That was what he did. He was a dentist, and somewhere on this station, someone needed him. In his grandfather's leather bag. Ambassador Ha would wake up in a few hours. He would be in some discomfort, but the terrible pain would be gone. He would live. And that was all that mattered to Dr. Daniel Cooper. He had done his job. He had helped someone who needed help. Everything else was just details. Cooper picked up his bag. "It will not go wrong," he said, not a boast. Just a statement of fact from a man who knew his skills. "Nurse, prepare the operating room. Doctor, I want you to assist. You know physiology better than anyone. Between your knowledge and my skills, we will save him." They moved Ha carefully to the operating room. Cooper walked beside the bed, his face calm and focused. Behind him, Doctor followed with growing hope. Maybe, just maybe, these primitive human methods would accomplish what all of galactic medicine could not. Maybe steady hands and old tools were exactly what was needed. In 30 minutes, they would find out if humanity's simple approach could save an alien life and change everything. Lisa felt a small spark of hope. She looked at Ha, who had started shaking. His body was fighting the infection and losing. She hoped the human dentist was as good as his record suggested. Because if he was not, the peace negotiations would end with a funeral, and human relations would be damaged for years to come. The stakes were higher than anyone in that room understood. But in 5 minutes, a man with steady hands and old metal tools would walk through the door, and everything would change.